the second part of taking a look at a case study like Nicholas or a situation in your schools, we need to look at both the stakeholders, who are the people that need to be at the table, especially in this very literal table in this meeting, this SST meeting, but also we need to take it what lens they may be viewing disability from. And you guys already have we've already talked about, you already have a pretty good understanding of those models. So let's first think about the stakeholders. If you've already read the chapter from our course text, or if you haven't, I'll give you a little preview, but this directly relates to the foundations of MTSS that our course text talks about in core, I think they call it core feature number 4, which is teaming. There's more to it, but a big chunk of this is collaboration and teaming. That's missing from Nicholas's case. The first incidence of teaming and collaboration we're seeing is at that SST meeting where Mrs. White, the general education teacher, is expecting to have a referral for special education. This is kind of what I referred to with a fast track to special education. There has not been a giant piece of MTSS and tiered support for this kiddo in that Mrs. White has, or it maybe isn't Mrs. White's fault. It could be the framework of the school. It could be the structure of how things are done. It could be wider than that. But that piece is missing. Pretty big piece, big chunk. There's not a shared mission from the team. There's not a shared purpose, and there's definitely not shared data. We have kind of isolated data about Nicholas. We need it from across an MTSS, a tiered support services framework, throughout interventions and throughout the school. This is time to take a step back and take a look at what supports Nicholas needs in his classroom provided by the school and the structure, rather than just looking at special education. Now, remember, I'm not saying that we ignore child find, but we have to take a look in this case that the steps and procedures and policies and regulations have not been followed up until this point. I'm not going to say a lot about the disability models piece of this. I'd like you to take a look at the next couple of slides and in your brain, really think about what lenses and models these stakeholders, as described in this meeting, are really using to take a look and view Nicholas and his struggles. I slipped a little bit in our last video and already talked a little bit about the medical model, but apply either the medical model, the charity model, or the social model. Don't try to do more than 2. Don't try to apply all of them, but either apply them as a whole umbrella over what you see in this case in your brain, or you can think about specific individuals, characters in our case study. Mrs. White is definitely a medical model. She sees something wrong with Nicholas that needs to be fixed. Mom is coming at it from a different model. I know I personally took a look at this with Nicholas and looked at his home situation. And really, as a special education professional, I was thinking about the services he's not receiving. And my brain dipped a little bit into the charity model. How can we help? How can we go in and really uphold and support this person, this individual? Review the next couple of slides. Let that roll around in your brain and think about which stakeholders are coming from what perspective and using which lens.